What's up, and welcome to episode 193 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton. I'm joined by my main man, Woody V. What's happening, mate?
How are you, Robbie? I'm really good. Just want to give some thoughts and prayers to all the people, the families of the victims, and everyone that went through a really hard day in Australian history yesterday with what went on at Bondi. So just, while we're recording this podcast, basketball is something we care about, but there are other things going on in the world. So I just wanted to make a note of that.
Well said, man. Look, I'll definitely echo those sentiments as well. That was just tragic, just hearing the news coming through, and even just the news that we're hearing today and everything else like that. I said to someone today, the world's just a crazy place sometimes, isn't it? And it's it's that time of year where people are together and families and everything else like that. So absolutely, our thoughts are with everyone, and we'll try and sort of provide some light entertainment this week, or maybe if people are listening to it, just to sort of take their mind off things and everything like that. So.
Yeah. And basketball is a very including sport. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, Muslim, Jewish.
That's true.
What sexuality you are. We accept everyone in our basketball community, as does everyone in the Australian community, right?
Yeah.
So let's just leave it on that.
Yeah, sounds good, mate. Well, just before we get into it, just a reminder, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your audio podcasts. We'll mention it at the end, but this is going to be our last show of the year, Woods. We're just going to do a show this week, so it's Monday the 15th of December at the time of recording. We're going to have next week off, just that Christmas week, but we are going to be back the New Year's week, so never fear. We're just going to take the 1 week off, and got a lot of plans for the new year as well. So, all right, before we kick into the show today, we'll start off with jerseys as always, and why don't you show us who you're rocking today?
Well, the guy you were asking me about during the week, man, so I thought I'd wear his jersey and let's just reflect on his career so far.
Sweet. So what are you standing up rocking the number 7 Illawarra Hawks champion jersey of AJ Johnson. A next star from 2 years ago, was it?
Yeah, correct.
2 years ago. 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, so just to your point, he was with the Illawarra Hawks in the 2023-4 season as the next star. Akeem Jamal A.J. Johnson was born December 1st, 2004. He's 21 years of age. He's born in Fresno, California, before foregoing college to come and play as an extra, as mentioned, at Illawarra. And he was the surprising 23rd overall pick in the first round to the Milwaukee Bucks. Didn't last there for long. Only played 7 games for the Milwaukee Bucks. And last year, towards the end of the season for Washington, he played 22 games. He started 11. He was averaging 27 minutes a game, 9 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, shooting nearly 40% from the field. He started to show a little bit, but he seems to have fallen out of the rotation this year. And my question to you is, you said, Woody, is he going to be a bust? Where are we at with this guy? So maybe I'll get your thoughts.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the 23rd pick. I remember those mock drafts going into that, and he was sort of touted as, maybe in the 40s or something like that. So it was a huge shock when the Bucks drafted him. They obviously saw a lot of potential. Yep. He's young, he's athletic, he sort of ticks those boxes there. He had some pretty solid games in the NBL. Didn't set the world on fire, but we know it's more a role that you're sort of playing as these next stars there. And you're right, he finished off the season well last year. I thought he would have gone into this season, maybe looking to improve on that, but he can barely get off the bench on a team that's got the equal worst or the worst record in the NBA. So strange. Look, it's hard to call him a bust yet. It's early days, but it's interesting that Milwaukee was so high on him and then they got rid of him. I believe he was in that trade that sent Chris Middleton over to Washington for Kyle Kuzma and that. So look, you've got to give up something to get something, but look, clearly they got rid of him pretty early. Do you think he's a bust?
No, 21 years of age, very young, right?
Yeah.
He's 6'5". He's a combo guard, right? He's got all the tools to be successful, and he's got time to develop. My question to you is this Next Stars program, right? It's highly vaunted. Everyone speaks about it as a great pathway to the NBA, and there are examples of it being successful. But we look at guys like Jeng out in OKC. We look at Ryan Rupert. We look at this situation here, the French dude from New Zealand, I can't remember his name, he was the 58th overall pick, There's more. There's this
Bassan. Even like guys like Almanza, didn't quite make it sort of thing.
Where are we at with this Next Stars program, man? And now we're not getting Americans. You're noticing we're getting a lot of Europeans, and the boy Noah Kwaku out in Perth, basically not even playing at all.
Well, he's clearly not going to get drafted the way he's sort of playing. I don't know, it's interesting. There's obviously been some really top-end talent. You guys like LaMelo Ball and you guys like Josh Giddey, right? And then there's sort of been some middle sort of players. And there's been, guys like RJ Hampton that's he's disappeared from the league altogether. Look, I think a lot of them are going to end up being role players. I think Ryan Rupert could end up being, continue to be a role player as he is with Portland at the moment. But Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think people were really excited early on. You're right that with the college athletes able to get some coin now, there's not going to be as many as Americans that come out there. But look, I like the way they've done it. It's certainly put the NBL on the map. But yeah, it doesn't seem even this year as well. I mean, look, you've got Karim Lopez, you've got Malik Lewis, but it's not as it doesn't stand out as much as years gone past. And a lot of teams don't even have next stars, do they, this season in the NBL?
Yeah, and I mean, shout out to Liam Santa Maria, a friend of ours. Doing a great job running that program, and it's a great initiative. I'm just looking back on 5 years of the program being now, established, and how have people come through it, and where are they at now? And
maybe in the new year we can look to get Liam back on and sort of talk about the progress it's made and everything else like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
You rocking the Spurs hat today? Is that because of their
absolutely, man?
Liking that retro Spurs.
I thought you'd like this one, man. Have you seen this one before?
I don't think I have. I like it.
Okay, cool.
Nice. And I think when I've seen that jersey before, I don't like that massive gap between the Hawks there. It's like it's just it's craving for something above the Hawks there, but still a nice jersey there. All right, well, my jersey, I'd love to say this is something I've been planning for 2 weeks. I literally was wearing a black t-shirt this afternoon. I thought, right, I'm going to find a black jersey. I think you've worn this guy's jersey before. I haven't, but someone from our Hawks, someone's having a great season.
I know who it is.
Show you who I'm rocking today.
So without me even looking, I know that Robbie is wearing the Atlanta Hawks number 17 Onyeka Okongwu jersey. I just know him so well. I knew he was wearing that jersey before he even told me.
You picked that well. Nice jersey. It's not a number 17 Dennis Schroeder jersey. I've got a lot of Hawks jerseys back in the
day. 00, baby.
Yeah, look, when I wear a current player, I don't go sort of on too much and talk about accolades because obviously he's well and truly in his career. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about him this year, Woods. He's clearly thrived with Clint Capella, moving on now, and with Kristaps Porzingis, who maybe we'll touch on a little bit, missing so many games. So he's had a lot of opportunity there. He's averaging, I think, 16.5 points, about 7 rebounds a game, a couple of assists. I think over 2.5 combined, stocks, which is combined blocks and steals there. I think the big one for me, and we spoke about this probably a couple of seasons ago now, where he needs to work on that shot. Every sort of off season we hear that he's working on the 3-point shot. Well, the percentage is I think mid-30s, but it's more the eye test. His shot is looking really nice. That corner 3 that he does, it always seems to be in front of the other team's bench or our own bench. Hitting those regularly. How have you seen Double O's game this year for the Hawks?
Yeah, well, you talk about those corner threes, man. He's got the ability to catch that 3 high and not even put the ball down. He'll just take it up and he'll just flick it.
Right, throws it so high too, doesn't he?
Really hard to block that shot. I think he's just learned a lot from Clint Capella. Let's not forget about the role Clint Capella played in his development over the last few years, right?
Yeah.
And him what a game he had today, man. What was his line today? Really big line today,
right? It was a big win against Philly, a really tight game. Man. He was great in that game, wasn't it?
And I just think it's a case of him developing year on year, right? And we've said, is this the year that Double O is going to make that step? We've even said that for the last 2 seasons, and it hasn't actually happened. Maybe he's a bit stunted in his growth with Clint being there, and we thought that maybe that might happen with Kristaps being there this year. But obviously, with the situation, it's warranted that he plays, larger minutes, and he's taken that opportunity with both hands.
Well, as we both are, Woods, we're absolute Hawks, sicko fans there. So we watch every game, and I'm sure you do as well. I only watch it with the Hawks commentary team. So Bob Rathman and Dominic Wrighton. Yeah. They've always really talked about just how hard a worker Onyeka is. Shout out to Onyeka, best mates of Jalen Johnson, which is pretty cool. So keep those guys around. But yeah, really enjoying what he's done this year. And before we move on and to Card of the Week, Woods, let's quickly touch on Kristaps Porzingis, because I made a couple of jokes the last few weeks. He takes a lot of sick days sort of thing. We know he's had some health battles in the past. You sent me something today. Why don't you let the viewers know what's kind of going on with Kristaps Porzingis at the moment? Because look, it's not great for the Hawks. Not great news. He's been really good when he's been on the court, but it's looking like he's going to be out for quite a while.
Yeah, well, let me just read that what I sent you today. So according to Shams Charania of ESPN, thanks Shams, Porzingis will miss significant time due to an illness and will undergo further examinations. Charania noted that both sides are prioritizing Porzingis' long-term health, as he has missed 7 of the last 8 games. Porzingis was diagnosed with an autonomic condition called POTS, P-O-T-S, last season. So I did a bit of research on what POTS was, right? Yeah. If you stand up and you're not sitting, your heart beats at such a fast rate, it's not safe for you to engage in any sort of physical activity. So he either has to be sitting down or lying down at all times, right?
Yeah.
And when you're playing, when it's your heart, this is really serious stuff, right? So our thoughts go out to him, and he's obviously it's a serious thing. It
sucks, doesn't it? We were so excited to get him there. He seems like such a good guy. He's a great teammate. He's already fitted into the city's embraced him, and he's embraced them. But look, significant time. I don't like that wording, Woods. I mean, that's significant. I don't know what you'd even put that. I sort of said to you today, have we seen the last of him? Look, I really hope I'm wrong there. But like you said, that is a serious condition we're talking about there. And as I mentioned to you offline as well, you get some of these massive guys like that sometimes their internal organs and everything, they don't quite match up with the size of these people, whether they've got an enlarged heart or whether they've got a heart that's too small or different things like that, different major body organs and stuff there. So, yeah, look, we know Kristaps is a big listener of the show, obviously, so we wish him all the best there. Hope he gets back out on the court because, look, the Hawks are a better team.
Are you going to apologise to him now for ribbing him about sick days?
Nah, I don't like apologising to people. No, it was just a joke at the time. I'm sure he'd say humour and he's a funny guy.
I'm just joking with you, man.
But yeah, it's a real shame. But look, back to Kristaps, back to Onyeka Okongwu. This is a big opportunity for him now. He doesn't really, the backup, big man is Mo Gay, who's, coming along, but he's still, a bit of a project there. So hopefully Onyeka can keep doing what he's doing. So, look, I'll go straight on to Card of the Week, Woods. I'm going to rock one of your guys, or show one of your guys today. So, watching a bit of NBL this weekend, and a guy that really stood out for me was your import guard for the Sydney Kings. So, the card I'm showing this week is a 2024-25 Topps Chrome NBL Adelaide 36ers Kendric Davis Relic card. So, really nice card, that one. So see it's got a relic there. You can see the nice sort of, jersey sort of patching that there. Really nice looking card from that recent set. Congratulations. You've got a NBL relic refractor card there. But Kendric Davis, we'll go on and talk a little bit about the NBL soon and those big wins that Sydney had against Perth and Melbourne, right? Huge wins there. But how impressive has your boy Kendric Davis been this year?
I think what I was saying, shout out to Nick Wajaja, a friend of ours, listens to this podcast. Nick, he texted me the other day, and I was texting him during the game last night, actually. And I said, having Kendric Davis on this roster is so exciting. Everyone loves to watch him play. It's like Randall when he was on the team, right? Maybe we didn't win games all the time, but he plays an exciting brand of basketball. Whenever he's got the ball in his hand, you want to tune in to see what he's going to do. And I think even though the Kings are a frustrating team to watch, they could beat the top 2-3 teams on a given day and then lose to the bottom team next week.
Yeah.
At least they're playing a brand of basketball, and the young kids coming to the games want to wear Kendric Davis jerseys, man. Right?
Definitely. Have you got one yet? You're not a young.
No, I think I need to get one, bro. I got a Delhi jersey.
He's got to get a summer league, a decent summer league trial next year, right? He's got connections, right? He played in Memphis in college there, so we know obviously the Anthony Hardaway connections there, and he was obviously a great point guard in the NBA. But you'd like to see someone like this get an opportunity because he's really good. I think he's still. I'm not quite sure what guard he is. Is he a shooting guard in a point guard's body there maybe, but there's no doubt about the ability he's got. He can get to the hoop. He's got that great 2-point shot, that kind of forgotten shot now that people either take threes or they drive to the basket. He can hit twos kind of off the dribble, fading away there, but he's really fun to watch, I've got to say. He's looking good.
Is he willing to take a Seth Curry kind of role in the NBA, right? Or does he want to be the man,
That's true. I think he's someone that will want to have NBA on his resume eventually. But, nice card I thought I'd show. Kendric Davis. There's no Kings cards out for him yet. It's an Adelaide 36ers one. But, nice looking card there for this week's Card of the Week. All right, good stuff, Woods. Well, we're going to start off with NBA this week, right? So I kind of teased it earlier with the talk about the Spurs there. So the NBA Cup had their semi-finals, so the NBA Emirates Cup yesterday. They were playing in Vegas. The two semi-final results were in the East. New York beating Orlando 132-120. That was an okay game, but look, it was definitely the entree for the main course, and that was the San Antonio Spurs beating OKC in a 111-109 thriller there. So breaking that, I believe, 16-game win streak that OKC had. Look, I know you were busy watching the Kings-Melbourne game. I think you might have had it on your phone, but I was watching this. I really enjoyed this game. If I probably had to pick a non-Hawks game that I've enjoyed the most this year, it'd be this one. It just had everything. The crowd were into it. It was going, end to end. You kind of didn't know who was going to take the lead. There was a few, bad luck plays, a few missed calls and everything else like that. But maybe let's start with the Spurs there. How good were they getting Wemby back, and they've got a final now in the League Cup?
Man, we all were unsure of how good the Spurs would do this season, right? And no one would have thought Steph Castle's progression would have been like this. Look at the way he's playing right now. And Wemby, man, perfect time for him to come back. Came off the bench yesterday.
Yeah, his numbers didn't blow you away on the page, but geez, he just made a difference when he's out there. Hit some clutch free throws. Putting your big guy out there, he can hit reliable free throws there. And for me, Woods, it was guys like Vassell that stepped up and looked good. Harper had some moments, and the one that I think gets maybe lost in all this talk about the Spurs there. 100%. Swipe of the Fox, right? Like, he's an elite point guard.
I hear you, bro.
All these young up-and-coming guys that seem to get all the talk about him, they've got an absolute star in De'Aaron Fox. I really like the way he plays there. But they're a pretty good team, aren't they, the Spurs?
Yeah, absolutely. And with Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox there, man, you can share the ball handling duties, right?
Yeah.
It makes you think, Halliburton and Fox potentially could have survived together watching these two play, right? I mean, they're sometimes Fox is playing off the ball, sometimes Castle is playing off the ball, and then Harper can come in and he can play a little bit of the one as well. He's more a two, but they've got some options there, and they can mix and match at the guard positions, and it gives them some flexibility. The pencil Harrison Barnes, like in this little period when Wemby's been out, Harry Barnes has been solid, man.
And back to Steph Castlewoods, he seems to play a bit taller than what he is.
Yeah, for sure.
I did do a dad joke with my daughter yesterday and said that his parents' names King of the and Sand is in Castle, so she rolled her eyes. She didn't seem to like that joke, so maybe a couple of our dads that are listening to this might get a laugh out of it. But look, either way, the Spurs, I'm actually pretty pleased that they made the final because they're playing our Hawks on Saturday in Atlanta, so they're going to have that extra game on Wednesday, and then they've got a game on Friday as well. So they've got 3 games in 4 nights there, so we might get them sort of a bit of an off night there. But quickly to the East game, wasn't as good a game. I think New York sort of were definitely good in this game. Josh Hart was good, and I thought he's playing some good basketball lately, and Cat was really impressive. What we
you had 69 points out of Cat and Brunson, right?
Yeah.
Shooting at a really high clip. I think it was 25 from 38 from the field, right?
Knicks are pretty good, aren't they?
They are very good. And you got guys who are not even we thought Gerson Yabusele was going to come play a role for this team. He's barely getting off the floor. Jordan Clarkson barely plays it. I mean, they went with a 7-man rotation. Barely.
That's unlike New York, isn't it? Have a short rotation.
Robinson and Kolek come off the bench. A little bit of Clarkson. That's it from memory, right?
But those guys you mentioned, though, right? That's good insurance to have if they do get an injury. I mean, obviously OG's missed a bit of time. Mitchell Robinson, he's a bit injury prone, but they've got some insurance if they do have some injuries there. Miles McBride, I think, is maybe the only one out at the moment. But really like the way they're playing. Jalen Brunson for me is so consistent, right? He'll put up his numbers. It doesn't matter who's guarding him. He gets his numbers either way, right? And they're going to be a very strong force in the Eastern Conference this year. So,
I agree.
Who's winning this? Wednesday, it's the standalone game. Wednesday, our time here. So in Vegas, we've got the New York Knickerbockers against the San Antonio Spurs. Who's your prediction?
Firstly, they're going to put OG Anunoby on Wemby right away, maybe?
I mean, look, I think Mitchell Robinson's going to get some time as well. I mean, look, that's a bit problematic, isn't it, putting OG on him? He's probably giving up, 7 inches, 8 inches or something like that. So, you could see him exploit that matchup a bit. But, I mean, look, maybe if you're the Knicks, you really try and make Cat go at Wemby early, right? We know Cat does that drive to the basket where he's flailing his arms up and everything like that. If they could get a couple of early fouls on Wemby, maybe that's a game plan they do. But anyway, back to your prediction.
All right, I'm going to go to Spurs. Just because of that matchup and just the momentum they're going to take from that huge victory. And, the Spurs are for real, man. Were they 20-1 before going into that game? The OKC were, right?
Yeah, a bit more than that, I think.
OKC 24-2. They were 23-1 going into that game, a big time game, and the Spurs. It shows how good they are. It shows how good they are.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, for me, look, we're talking about a team that's got 2 of my favourite 5 players in the NBA in Cat and Hart. So I'm going to have to say the Knicks that one. I felt like we agreed too much on last week's show, so I'm going to go differently as well. So, but look, really looking forward to that. Look, it's one, like I said, standalone games. That's one that could be pretty easy to follow and everything like that. It's another strange week in the NBA where not a lot of teams are playing a lot of games. I think it's a bit weird, but I think it'll be back on track from next week. But I've got a question in our true or false about
I know.
league covers all that we'll go back to. So. All right, well, do you remember at the start of the season we did that, what is now an annual team wins draft? I know we really enjoyed it.
Oh, yes.
Right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that now. As we mentioned last week, we're more than a quarter of the way in the season now. So I thought I'd do a bit of a recap with that now. So, look, we're not going to go through all of our picks just in the sake of time there and everything like that. I'm going to talk about our top 5 picks just and maybe we can sort of do a quick thought. So you started off this wins draft. You had OKC. Look, best record in the league. Very good pick there. We don't even need to get any comments. My first pick was Houston, so look, pretty solid. There's a few teams with some more wins than them at the moment, but I think as the season goes along, I'm pretty happy with Houston. Your second pick, you had Denver, so look, no issues there. I think they're second in the West or something at the moment.
Yep.
Yes, second in the West, so that was a good pick. And my second pick, I had the Knicks, who are second in the East. So look,
18-7, yeah.
Yeah, we did pretty well with our first 2 picks. It's where our third picks came that. I got it. you got a little bit unstuck. I got a lot unstuck. So your third pick, and this is one that when I played back, we were so different on this. You had Golden State. So look, Golden State, they had a loss today against Portland. Just the 13 wins so far.
13 and 14, yeah, they are.
A lot better than my third pick, though, because I took the LA Clippers at the third pick, who are now stuck on 6 wins. So that was just horrendous.
I was unsure about that when you said that, man.
Yeah, I wish I could take that back. Your fourth pick, you went Cleveland. So Cleveland's struggling a little bit. Now they've got the news that Mobley's out for a few weeks. Yeah, so that's going to... And Jared Allen's been injured as well, so I think we're going to be seeing a bit of Dean Wade, right?
Let's just... Yeah, a bit of Dean Wade. We're going to see... Who else is on that? Yeah.
I don't know. They're going to need to go and find a big guy off the street, I reckon.
They got the guy. What's his name from the back in the day? He played for Indiana last year as a backup center.
Not Wiseman.
Nah, the other guy.
Tony Bradley.
Nah, the other one.
How many other ones do they have? Because Isaiah Jackson's still there.
I'll tell you who it is, man. It is.
Look,
go on.
Yeah, I'll say why are you doing that, Woods? Yeah, I think last year they had such a good start. They were probably. I think last year did they win 60
Thomas Bryant.
Games? Thomas Bryant, of course, the former Laker as well. He's definitely bounced around. Yeah. My fourth pick, I had Atlanta there. So look, I said at the time I wanted to pick him. Not a bad pick. They've got 15 wins, not looking too bad. So that was our. Well, that was our top 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that was the fourth. So your fifth pick, you had the Lakers. So a really good pick there. Yep. That was pretty good value. I had Minnesota, so likewise they're one.
Yeah, after a slow start, Minnesota have started to get together. Your boy Naz Reid's playing some good basketball.
Yeah, he's playing good. And Julius Randle playing really good. So
Steven
what I did, solid. He's been talked in sort of trade rumors. If they do sort of make a trade, he might be there. So look, we've added them all up. Before I go into that, I guess maybe a couple that stand out for me. So my is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? My 7th and 8th picks, Woods, because I was worried when I knew you had OKC. I'm like, oh, you're going to smash me in this. My 7th pick in the draft, Detroit Pistons. My 8th pick in the draft, San Antonio Spurs. So that might sort of say who's going to have the lead so far. So as much as my Clippers pick was terrible, getting Detroit and Spurs down, that was a stroke of genius, Woods. And the other one I had with my 4th last pick, I had Toronto, who's sneakily got 15 wins. So they were my good ones. So I guess my good ones looking at that were Detroit, Spurs, and Toronto down the order a bit. Even Phoenix, not too bad there. My bad ones, and even Utah, I had them as the last pick, and they've had 9 wins now, so not too bad. Chicago probably took them a little bit higher given how they've slipped. That's probably it's the Clippers that's really my undoing there. In terms of yourself there, so Golden State's probably the one that's costing you a little bit as your 3rd pick there. In terms of value, you did pretty well with Miami. So you got Miami with about your 6th last pick. They've got 14 wins, not too bad. And Philadelphia, if you kept the faith in after their injuries last year, they've had 14 wins as well, and not looking too bad. Dallas is hurting you a little bit. They're just 10 wins, so they're struggling.
They're on the come up though.
They could do, yeah. And that's, you haven't got any really... So my obviously really, really missed with the Clippers there, but, really basically made up for that with Detroit and San Antonio. So anyway, after, nearly 30 games each for each team, the total is, for games won out of our teams, so far you're on 185, I'm on 194. So 9 different, but I'll say I actually did this at the weekend. I updated it today. A lot of my teams that I had seemed to have got some wins over the last few days, including some of those NBA Cup wins. So that's what boosted me up. But look, it's going to be fun to follow this. Maybe we'll give a couple more updates through the year. I've got a pretty cool looking template. I've got to say, I was quite proud of myself as the other.
Not surprised.
Nice template there. Yeah, I like my lists and stuff. So thought that was a bit of fun there. So I'm up 194 to 185. Thought it was going to be hard with you having OKC, but look, I guess at the end of the day, Detroit are only 4 wins behind OKC now, so not too bad. Before we end this little segment, Woods, do I have any faith in the Clippers getting me some more wins, or was that just going to be a prediction that haunts me all season? 6 wins I've got so far.
We did say that John Collins was getting his stuff together, and as soon as we said that, he's had like 3 or 4 of the worst games. And they just seem like they're in games, but come the 4th quarter, if the game is close, they're going to be on the wrong side of it. So they're going to get you some wins, but I just...
Yeah. And the West is so stacked as well. You're going to be playing a lot of these teams multiple games. So, bit of a disaster. I wonder if Ty Lue will get that job going into next season. If they end up, winning in the 20s, for example, say they end up winning 29 wins or something, he could be in some big trouble.
The team is just old, man. It's not necessarily Ty Lue's fault, right?
It is. True. All right, we'll finish off our NBA chat. We've actually got a viewer question, so I appreciate those. Anyone that wants to get a viewer question in, we'll always be happy to talk about those. So we've got Eden Vella from New South Wales has sent us in this question. Woods, I'll read this one out. So, hey guys, with Alex Toohey rehabbing in the US after surgery, the big question becomes, is his next step the NBA or G League? a move to Europe, or coming home to the Australia, to the NBL? And which path actually puts him in the best position long term? So who wants to start? Do you want to start? Or
you start, man.
All right, I'll start. So my thoughts on this one, honestly, I think this is easy for me. I think he has to stay in the USA.
Okay.
And I think he needs to strike now once he's healthy. And the reason is for that, Woods. He was a surefire second rounder, right? Everyone had him on their big boards going in the second round there. He hasn't got a good run of it this year. He's playing with one of the best teams there that have got a pretty deep team there. And he's had this pretty serious shoulder injury, which has ended his season now. So the reason why I think he needs to strike now, I think he'll have a number of teams that will be willing to offer him a training camp, perhaps a two-way spot. He hasn't slipped that much. All these teams were touting him as a decent second round pick, probably early to mid second round there. So I think he needs to strike while it's all sort of hot there and everything like that. Try and find a position, at the end of the season, once he's completed his rehab and his injuries healing up there, and try and get a training camp in a two-way spot there. He's a young guy. I think he needs to really give it another crack there. What's your thoughts on the question?
Look, we agreed on everything last year, right? Maybe I'm going to disagree with you slightly. I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate here. I think that the G League is a place where people who want to get their numbers, they can go there and get their numbers, right? You can put up points, you get your shots. Everyone's a little bit greedy, selfish, trying to prove their point to get to the NBA, right? Now, a guy like Alex Toohey is a system player, right? He's going to do whatever the team needs to succeed. He's going to fill gaps, right? And I think going to Europe will give him the opportunity to, show that he's coachable, play within a system. In Europe it's very organized, right? You've got to follow whatever your coach tells you to do. You've got to, stick to sets and things like that. And you can prove a point. And I can mention people like Dante Exum, Ryan Brokoff, guys who have taken that Europe route to get to the NBA, right? So I would say Europe, not the NBL, might be a good place for him while he's rehabbing to prove these intangibles, right? But your side of the coin, I agree with, right? You look at a guy like Luke Travers, right? Very much similar to Alex Toohey, right? This year alone in the G League, he's playing 33 minutes. He's taking 19 field goal attempts a game, averaging 22.3 points, 7.5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks, right?
And that could easily be Toohey, right?
That could easily be Toohey. It's about the situation you're in, right? If because Luke Travers is on a two-way contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are like, we need you to go down to the Cleveland Charge and develop. You're still part of this system here, right? It's different when you've been waived from the Golden State Warriors, for example, and you're told to find your own way and find your own G League team, right? There's going to be there's 7 guys on that team, right, that are trying to do the same as you, whereas 2 or 3 maybe on two ways coming down from the NBA.
Is Taron Armstrong still in that Golden State G League team?
No, he's playing in Europe. He's in Europe, and he's not playing much in Europe either, man. He's getting DNP CDs in Europe.
That's a shame, isn't it? I thought he was someone that might have, it's all about situation in the NBA, isn't it? Who knows? Had Toohey, and obviously the injury is the reason why he left, but had he got drafted by another team, maybe a team with, not as deep a roster as Golden State, it might have worked out differently, but I'd like to see him have a good another crack. And I actually think he will, Woods. I think I'm going to be right on this one. I'm going to just say that now.
Okay, no, I hope you're right too. And shout out to Eden Vella, very thoughtful basketball mind, and I've developed a pretty good friendship with him. Thanks for listening to every episode, Eden, and we appreciate your question, bro.
Absolutely.
And
good stuff. All right, we're going to move on to some NBL now, Woods. So, look, I thought it was a really good round, firstly, of the NBL. We're going to do a bit of a preview of round 13. As we mentioned at the start, what a round from your Kings. Let's do a quick recap of that Kings and Wildcats game, because we always sort of come clear with that. So, wow. I thought this was going to be an absolute cracker of a game. The Wildcats had just beaten Melbourne by double figures, were pretty unlucky. Not unlucky, they lost to Adelaide, but they probably should have won. And then the Kings came in and just basically, what was it, equalled the record for a loss at RAC Arena, 29-point win by Sydney. Sydney just had it going. What happened that game? You must be pretty happy.
Very happy. It's like Kings are so Jekyll and Hyde. You never know what's going to happen. I said that, right? And we talked about Kendric Davis earlier in the episode. They could end up beating Perth away from home, Melbourne away from home, and losing to Cairns next weekend. It's just the way the Kings are. But I would say that Perth were really impacted a little bit by that, gut-wrenching loss we talked about the week before, right? Yeah. And they come into this game maybe with a little bit of a negative mindset, or remembering what happened a few days prior. And the Sydney Kings came in after taking a tough loss last round as well to the New Zealand Breakers, right?
Yeah. I'm glad Perth's defense came to play yesterday in their game against Brisbane, because after giving up, God, how many did Sydney get against Perth? Was it in the over 110? Was it maybe? It was a massive score, and then I think Perth get Brisbane to 62 yesterday. It's obviously very different opponents there, but I'm glad Perth got back and track. 108 it was, yeah. But look, shout out to Sydney Woods. You've got us 2-0 this year. I think we've got another game in Sydney, maybe late January, which we'll have to look into as always. But I was so disappointed with that game. And geez, could it have started any later, by the way, as well? That Adelaide game was running late and then went to overtime. I don't know if that's a great solution. I was hoping my daughter would be able to watch a bit. That game didn't start till 10 past 10 in the Eastern States here. That was crazy.
I was sending you a video from some pub in the city at like 11:30 at night watching the game. So it's still on, right?
Crazy time to still be on. But no, well done on that one. Well, before we do this week's preview, Woods, given I said we're not going to be on next week and we're coming into the new year, I gave us a little bit of homework there to do a bit of a New Year's resolution for all 10 teams. Did the dog get your homework?
No, I did it.
All right, so what we'll do is we've got 5 teams each. It's kind of just a bit of a random order, but we did decide that you would do Perth and I would do Sydney. So why don't you take us away with Perth? What's your New Year's resolution for Perth?
All right. I wrote this down, man. So just give me one. You take it away with your first one, and I'll come to Perth. Yeah.
All right, I'll go to Sydney then. So, look, New Year's resolution for Sydney was, first one is, Woods, don't listen to the haters and fans like Woody V. So, I don't know. I feel like I've been a lot higher on the Kings than some of their big fans and stuff like that yourself have been. Even our shout out to our great friend Matty McQuaid there. But I say they've got to start thinking they can do it and believing in themselves there, because last weekend certainly proved that they can. The big resolution, I think, for me that they've got to do is try and get some more home wins. If you look at those teams above them, the big sort of, I guess, 3 in Adelaide, Melbourne and South East Melbourne, they're really taking care of business at home. I'd like to see Sydney get some more home wins. And look, let that amazing backcourt lead them to the finals, right? Because they're a team that you would not want to play in the finals. You've got all these good defenders. You've got scorers off the bench, and you've got an amazing backcourt. So yeah, that was my main resolution for the Sydney Kings. You take it away with Perth.
All right, so you're Perth Wildcats, right? I mean, as of 2 weeks ago, I checked this stat. Who's leading the Perth Wildcats in assists?
Really?
No. Christian Doolittle, right?
Interesting.
So the big problem was not having a true point guard on the floor, right? And Mason Jones was the problem previously. They've got David Duke Jr. now, right? Really was doing a good job, I got to admit. And we saw in that Adelaide game, and I said it last week, like not having a floor general during that last quarter cost them. So what I would like them to have is a pure point guard. Let's just say Riley's going to be doing it for the rest of the year. And then we can fill it behind him with Pepper, Henschel, whoever else, right? Let him be that guy and just be clear on who your floor general is going to be going forward, right? So I think they need to
No, that's true. And look, you could probably almost say what I said about the Kings. The Wildcats' home record's a bit shaky as well, so they need to take care of business. They've always got a long road trip when they travel somewhere. Take care of business on your home court, and I think that goes for the saying for both of our teams there. They've been traditionally good on their home court, a little bit down this year. So, all right, sweet Woods. Well,
having said that, though, the playmaking duties Doolittle's taken on. I think last I checked, he's averaging close to 4 assists per game.
Yeah,
very good.
He needs to do something after a couple of his last offensive games. He's had a couple of shockers in a row.
I know.
I'm going to go with Illawarra next, Woods, and honestly, I put in my notes here, where do I start? Honestly, that's just been a crazy sort of, season so far for them. What I've got, it's kind of simple, really, but try and get back to playing Illawarra Hawks basketball that they played last year, and get the players on track and coach, Justin Tatum like they did last season. So try and have that winning mentality. I guess, if they can get a few wins on the board, that'll start that off. And look, they have had a big turnover of teams, but just to try and play that Illawarra Hawks basketball, try and play that gritty style that their home crowd, gets behind there. And, just that they were so fun to watch last season, weren't they? Last season, they're just really disappointing. So, as I said, simple one for me there, but just try to get back to playing that Illawarra Hawks basketball and the way they coached and played like they were last year. So that's my resolution for the Hawks. Who you got now? You're going to go... You got the 2 Queensland teams.
Well, can I just really touch on the Hawks there, right? That team last year had Trey Kell at the point guard position, Hunjung Lee, Darius Days, guys on the wing who could shoot it. They were playing a fast-tempoed game, right? Yeah. Now they've got JaVale McGee. They've had to slow it down. They've lost Trey Kell.
Yeah, it doesn't suit him, does it?
It doesn't suit him. They're bringing Samson Folding back in. The whole identity has changed. So that exciting brand that you want them to play, it's difficult to play with the personnel that they have. So it's just worth noting, right? Yeah.
I think losing Trey Kell, I mean, look, you knew he was a big loss. He's probably one of those guys that maybe you don't realise how good he is till they've gone, sort of thing. He could do so many things for them. So
is Dave O'Hickey a starting point guard in this league? Probably. Is he a starting point guard on a championship winning team in this league? Probably not.
Maybe,
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, probably if they were a bit deeper and had guys like Kel and even H.J. Lee, who's a bit more of a bench player as well. But yeah, I mean he'd probably be best suited to being that first guy off the bench and playing that combo sort of offense. So yeah, I agree with that. So all right, give us the Queensland team's resolution. Who you
got? Let's go with Brisbane to start off with.
Yeah,
I think Brisbane, man, do something for the people of the community. All right, they've been a laughing stock basically since they've been led back into the league 14 years ago. I cannot remember anything worthwhile talking about for the Bullets since then, ever, right? A couple of years ago, they got great crowds in, despite losing. Leroy Loggins was coming to games and stuff, and there was a sense of community. Despite them losing, they were coming to games under Schuler. They were enjoying the brand of basketball. And so now we're seeing it. Boondall was empty the other day. There was like 3,700 people. I can't remember the number in a massive stadium, right?
Yeah.
People aren't coming to the games anymore. Like they've got like the Hungry Jacks area manager, as the coach of the team, and he's got like his guys under him, right? So what I would say the New Year's resolution is find a brand of basketball that people want to watch, bring the fans back in, and secondly, let's figure out this coaching situation, right? If he's not going to do it, you've got D-Mac, you've got Vanderjagt sitting there, right? Give one of them the coaching duties and just say, look, not only this year, you can have the team next year, right? They can.
I've got a question in our true false that might be interesting about a coach. Maybe they might have to look for next year. But appreciate that. Let's do two in a row. Let's do Cairns while you're there as well. We'll do two in a row for you. What do you got for Cairns?
Complete rebuild. I mean, just like get rid of, send Admiral Schofield home now. There's no point in playing him anymore, right? Send him home now.
Don't you want to see him this weekend in Sydney?
Nah, not at all. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me if he plays or not. But he played like 13 minutes the other night, right? Like guys like Cody Statman, he showed in NBL 1. You know better than anyone else how good the promise he showed. He showed it in preseason. I know he's had some injuries, but like let him play a little bit more. Let's see what they can get out of Mojave King in the back half of this season. Can he be a future NBL player? And then just literally break down the building and build it again, right? Yeah.
This is one of the first years they haven't really nailed their imports right.
It's been terrible recruiting.
They've had some great import recruiting over the years, right? It just feels like they haven't nailed. I think they did nail those Space Jam jerseys. They were crazy colours, those purple-looking ones. But yeah, I agree with that.
A guy like Andrew Andrews cares, but he's not the guy that you want at the point guard position. Like he seems
to be a bit of one of those mercenary type players. He's going to be a one and done and just go to the next spot and just try and increase his salary every year. So no, I agree with that. I agree with that, right? Because I've mentioned sort of the blowing up sort of thing. Well, I go to my next one. That's Melbourne. Right, so another kind of simple one. I've got basically take a deep breath and get this season back on track. Maybe don't listen to the experts hyping you up, right? I think they've maybe listened to that a bit too much. They've had a lot of losses in the last few weeks. Like, people like we've mentioned a few times, people are saying they might not lose a game, and I thought they would end up having a really big win-loss record there, but they've shown that they're absolutely beatable at the moment, including their own home court there. I think they've got to continue to get healthy. It was good to see Illy back on the weekend. They've got to keep him out there. And look, this is maybe more just a recency bias on their last game, but start working on those three-pointers, Woods, because they were absolutely atrocious against Sydney there.
One from 31, one from 32. I can't remember what it was.
Shooters, right? They've got some good shooters on that team. So work on that outside shot, and maybe be a bit more humble and don't believe that hype there, because look, this is not it's not a cupcake league as we know, right? And look, Adelaide are showing how good they are at the moment. I think Melbourne's definitely a step down from that. So they've just got to take a bit of a deep breath over this, Christmas little period there, and try and get the season back on track. So that's me for Melbourne. There.
And look quickly on Melbourne with Matthew Dellavedova gone, Shaley missing a lot of the first half of the season. You mentioned that, having him back in that lineup in the back half of the season, he's that leader, that spiritual 100%. Leader on that team.
So getting him healthy. No more head knocks, right? Can you play in a helmet? Have you ever seen anyone play? You see some of those AFL players, they play with that sort of helmet there. I guess look at AFL's a 360-degree game where you're sort of turning around. I wonder if you could wear some sort of headwear. I don't know. I don't think we've seen it before, right? So, in fact, why do I remember someone playing in like the 80s or something? Did Wayne Larkins wear Wayne the Dog Larkins?
Yeah, I think he might have when he had an injury.
Yeah,
right?
maybe. So it was
that was like the white thing that he had.
Not a permanent thing. Yeah. All right, well, I'll do my two in a row now, and I did South East Melbourne there. So, look, this is a pretty easy one to do as well. Keep on doing what you're doing. They've been, the standout of the season for me. They're a fun watch as well. When they're on, they're like, oh, sweet, the Phoenix. I quite like watching them play. So, do what you're doing, keep it doing. Play that hard defense, right? I think they've made that a bit of a calling card all season. Continue to play that hard defense that they play there. And the last part of that is I don't know what contract Nathan Sobey is on at the moment, but increase it. Add another year. Add some more money. Do something, because at his age, he put up a mid-30s game on the weekend. He just looks rejuvenated out there this season. He is looking great.
That's because of Coach King, man.
Intensity. I think Coach King's definitely got the best out of him. So that's probably an easy one. That's an A+ for me, the way they've been so far this season. So keep doing what you're doing, and I really enjoy watching him play. Who you got next? You've got Tassie and New Zealand next as your last two.
Tassie, it's like if anyone gets injured on Tassie, they don't really have that much depth. Sean McDonald went out at the start of the season, right? So Magne's been out. Who else has been out? David Johnson's been out.
He hasn't looked great since he's been back either, Johnson.
Last game he was okay. Like he had a good fourth quarter, but he was okay. So I'm talking about Johnson, Drimic, Magne, Majok Deng has missed time, right? So when these guys are missing time, the next man up isn't that great, right? They don't have like guys to cover them as they have in previous years. So I think it's about health. If they can stay healthy, then they can make some noise. But as you said on last week's episode, I don't care what anyone says, they're a very mediocre team, even at best. They're not winning a championship this year. I know everyone's high on them. They could beat anyone on any given day, maybe. But like when you talk about the Melbournes and the Adelaides, right? I find it very hard for them.
And like I said as well, Woods, that say like a Friday night home game in Tassie, teams don't have that fear that they had the last couple of seasons going. I think a lot of teams have got that belief that they can win there. So, all right, well, my last one is Adelaide, right? So, look, my New Year's resolution for them is go and get that franchise another championship. They have not won a championship for over 20 years now. It's 2001, 2002 season, I believe. So go and get that championship. That's a simple New Year's resolution, but that's what they need to do. And keep listening to Coach Wells there, because I think he's doing a tremendous job this season. I think he's probably still not getting enough credit.
I agree.
The players get more of the credit rather than him, but he was a little bit of a whipping boy last year with some of the things he did there, but I think he's really a good coach. I think he's got to deserve some credit for getting this team to mesh so well, right? You've got a lot of, personalities. You've got some, some high level imports you got on this team. He's managed to get it all meshing well. So yeah, absolutely, their New Year's resolution is to get that team another championship in their first one in over 20 years. So, well, that's me done. That was fun doing that. You've got one more to go. You've got New Zealand. So what's your New Year's resolution?
When we talk about coaches of the year, Wells has got a case, right? But early in the season, after New Zealand played 4 or 5 games, they're like, Coach Cobb, if he loses another game, he's gone. He's out of here, right? Yeah, New Zealand are a freaking write-off, right? They're terrible. But what he's done is, and you can see the backroom videos of him pre-game. The NBL gives us some great access and goes into the locker rooms of some of the teams and talks about the speeches and the motivation the coaches are giving at halftime and before games. And I've seen Coach Cobb talk to his players, and he's very structured, very smart. He's a great basketball mind. And a team that was falling apart at the seams. In fact, I told you I saw them at the bar after a big loss to Sydney in the early in the season, right? They seemed all disjointed all over the place, but now this team is together. They're playing together. So what my New Year's resolution to them is keep doing what you're doing, right? Believe in Coach Kopp, right? Because he's building a good culture there. In the past, New Zealand, we don't have enough Kiwis around. They've got those Kiwis there now, Sam Menenga is someone that everyone can look up to. They're building a good brand of basketball. Even if they don't make noise this year, stick with Coach Cobb. Stick with some of these guys. I heard today Parker Jackson-Cartwright is working on naturalizing as well, and he wants to play for the Tall Blacks and for New Zealand. So, just keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate that in your homework, Woods. Hey, you did mention hanging out at a bar. Is that something you do often? Or?
No, not often, man.
All right, that's good. Good boy. No, that was good. I think we talked about, in transparency, we talked about doing this for NBA, right? But that would have taken like a whole episode with 30 teams. So I thought that was good. Just a little bit of a recap there.
Yep.
Look, we are running a little bit long, so let's put up that slide and we'll just go through these a bit more quicker than normal, I'd say. Woods, just to go through
quick predictions, Right, you do them.
Predictions. All right, sweet. I'll read it out. So we've got the normal Wednesday night Ignite Cup game. We've got the Kings and 36ers in Canberra, right? So this is going to be pretty cool. Who do you like for this one?
I say let's go with the Kings with 4 in a row. The two that they won, the Kings against the 36ers, and then they're going to win against the Taipans.
So you wanted to get wins against all those teams above them. Geez, wouldn't that give them some confidence?
Awesome.
Yeah, all right, nice. I'll say the Kings as well.
Shout out to Hunter Goodrick, 6 and 10 in 13 minutes yesterday.
True. Shout out the NBL 1 East too. While we're at it, for sure. Thursday doubleheader. What is it with these Thursday doubleheader games? Woods? There seem to be some good ones again. So
at least we don't have basketball on.
Yeah, true. And not many sort of days left before we got a bit of a break over Christmas as well. So United against Hawks. Yeah, look, this is one that's dangerous for United. Hawks
Hawks
are sort of
could win,
playing a
man.
little bit free. They couldn't they? And Melbourne are a bit vulnerable at the moment. But look, I'm going to say United have to sort of fight back. I think Vickham will get them prepared for this game. So United for me.
All right, Hawks for me.
Okay, well, that'd be a big one, wouldn't it? Okay, Wildcats and Southeast Phoenix there. So, wow, Wildcats another Thursday night home game, so that's going to be a late night by the time that other one finishes there. So, look, I've got to back my Wildcats. I thought they did show some signs, albeit against a pretty weak Brisbane team, but Wildcats for me. Who you got?
Is Really back?
I don't think he's back for this one, but he's close to getting back from what I'm hearing.
I'm going to go SEM in a tight one.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you're doing it. Aren't those first 3 games on paper really good?
Very good.
Okay, so Friday night, we've just got the standalone game on Friday night. Not sure. I'm going to stay home. Full mate plans.
I won't be at the pub at that time.
Okay, yeah. So Taipans and Breakers. I mean, look. Yeah, maybe I'll say Taipans. Look,
No way.
I've been hating on it a little bit. Why not? Maybe I'll change my tune. I'll get on the Taipans. You're saying Breakers.
Breakers for sure. All right.
So you like the road team so far this round, don't you? All right. So Saturday
Except
night.
the Kings at home in Canberra. That's their home game, right? Yeah.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So Saturday night we've got the early game is Illawarra against 36ers. This is a nice one here. So liking this game on paper as well. Look, I'm going to say Hawks win this one. So I've got them losing that game against United. I'm going to say they win this game on the home court and sort of keep that, finals dream, alive there. So I'll say Illawarra. Who you got for that one?
I'm going to go 36ers. Hawks win against United, lose to 36ers.
Are we picking every game differently? This is like opposite round. I like this. We'll have to check how we go at the end of the round. Then we've got Southeast Melbourne against Brisbane. Feel like we're both going to pick the same for this. So yeah, Southeast probably in double figures for me in this one, I'd say. Sunday, so I'm kind of a little bit bummed that the Wildcats are on at this game time because we're both going to be travelling to Kudos to watch the Kings game. Shout out to just how bad public transport is getting to Kudos Arena Woods. It's an absolute joke, honestly. We're not even that far in proximity from that in terms of distance-wise. It's a joke to get there. You've got to get like 2 buses, a train, and then walk or something. So, as again, I know we pine for those days at the entertainment centre where we could just get 1 bus, be straight to the city, have a million food options to eat before or after the game. But anyway, we've got to realise the entertainment centre was demolished quite a long time ago, but I'll probably still continue to mention it. But yeah, look, long story short, I'm probably not going to see a lot of this game, but look, I'm going to say maybe the Jack Jumpers win this one and Wildcats go 1-1. Who do you got for that one?
I got the Wildcats to lose to SEM, but to beat the Jack Jumpers. So I've gone for a lot of the away teams.
So both going 1-1. Yeah, you like the road teams, don't you? All right, so this is the game we're going to, right? So looking forward to this one. We've got your Sydney Kings taking on your Cairns Taipans. So you've got to say Sydney for this one, right?
Yeah, nothing makes me happier than to watch my Kings play my Taipans, right? Number 1 versus number 2 team. It's the one game on the calendar that I love because, both teams mean something to me. So Cairns to lose, hopefully they're competitive, but Kings win. Yeah.
I'm going to try and come up with an amazing NBA jersey that I'm going to wear that game with. So obviously I'm not going to wear an NBL jersey. If I'm not wearing a Wildcats jersey, I probably wouldn't. So I'm going to come up with just a really random NBA jersey.
Yeah, maybe I should do the same.
Right? So yeah, maybe. All right. Random NBA jersey.
All right, I'll do the same. I'll do the same. Yeah.
Nice. And then we've got just games every day. I think it's for the rest of the calendar year like that. So I've got a Monday night game where we'll both, I think, be on leave, or is that your last day of work maybe?
No, Tuesday's my last day.
Well, you're not going to be doing much anyway.
No, I'm not going to be doing anything.
Right,
if
so
my boss is listening to this, sorry.
Shout out to you, boss. Brisbane and Breakers on Monday night. So, look, I'd say the Breakers will win that one. Maybe they'll be staying in Queensland, I would have thought, wouldn't they? They've got Cairns on Friday. Yeah, so Monday they'll have a bit of a rest, get some of that sunshine in Queensland.
A lot of Kiwis in Brisbane, man. And,
that's true. So, true. All right, and then we finish off on the Tuesday night. That sort of ends the round. The round, will continue the next day on that'll be Christmas. No, it'll be
Tuesday 23rd.
Yeah, so actually, is there a game Wednesday? There will be, right?
I think there is.
Yeah, it would be, right? So anyway, United and Jack Jumpers and this. So every team's nearly got 2 games.
It's basically a game every day for the next,
That's what I just said. The rest of the calendar year, pretty much a game. So that's pretty cool. So United for me for that one.
Yeah, me too.
All right, nice work. That was fun. Big round, right? Some good games there. It's going to start to shape the ladder, I think, as we go into this 2026 year. So, all right, let's wrap things up with some true or false. We'll go through this pretty quick. So, First question, true or false? The NBA Cup will still be around in 5 years' time.
Is anyone really paying attention to it right now? You and me are a little bit, but is the casual fan?
So is that a false?
It's a false. It's a false for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it will be because I think the league's been promoting this very heavily, and I think it'll start to maybe seem a little bit more normal for fans as the years go on. So it won't seem that novelty thing that it still feels at the moment, where you're trying to work out, okay, what is this and what's going on and why are these teams playing. So I think it will be. I think the league want this to work there. And look, I've enjoyed it. I must admit, I'm looking forward to that game on Wednesday.
For sure, man. For you and me, yeah, that's fine, right? But for the casual fan, are they actually following it, right?
One thing I will say, Woods, is none of those games were on ESPN. I mean, I don't have KO, and I never probably will get KO because I'm an ESPN man there, but none of those games were on there. So you had to have some, if you didn't have League Pass, you weren't watching those games, right? So that was a bit strange. I actually put on the Foxtel coverage, eyes it on there.
But KO is ESPN, you realise that, right?
Yeah, right. So they have every game that ESPN does.
Yeah.
So, but either way, if you didn't have those two, you needed League Pass there. So I think this is our Paramount games, I think they were.
Prime, Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, okay. I mean, you know I don't pay for those services. So, all right, second question. Adelaide are now the clear favourites in NBL 26. True or false?
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to Nick again. Like Nick, I talked about him earlier in the podcast. He texted me today. He goes, "What do you think, Adelaide?" And I said, "Man, legit." And it's what I said last week. Like it's the sum of all parts. Anyone can do whatever. Rakosovic, Troy Brown Jr. is playing a very minimal role here. He's doing whatever the team needs to succeed.
Yeah.
DJ Vasiljevic coming off the bench. Isaac Humphries having a career year. Like they want to play for each other, right?
Yeah.
You know, and they've got a great coach and a great leader in Bryce Cotton, man. For sure, bro.
Yeah. Look, I certainly think there's some strong contenders. True. You know, the Melbourne teams. Yeah, true, but 100% are true for me. The clear favourites is what the question asked. So agreed. All right. So next one, Trevor Gleeson will be back coaching in the NBL next season.
Yeah, it's possible.
All right. So for me, I've got true. And firstly, I really hope he does, being a Gleeson fan from way back in the day when he coached Perth. I'm not sure where I would like to see him end up, but I'd like to see him with one of those Queensland jobs. Yeah. So either in Cairns or Brisbane,
man.
And try and turn one of those struggling clubs' fortunes around, right?
For sure. And you heard him on the Nothing But Net show with Kane Pittman interviewed.
Shout out to Kane,
yeah, and he was like, he was insinuating he wants to come back.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be teams lining up to get his signature.
Yeah.
All right, easy one to finish off. True or false? True or false? You will be getting a fresh bunch of NBA card packs, and classic packs will be back in the new year.
Absolutely true. And I'm really sorry. I've been trying to get some random years, like early 2000s, in the 2010s. It's really hard to find packets. I think I've got to go back to the 90s because it's easy to source those packs. Yeah. But I'll have some for the next episode, guys. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know people have asked about that. I've to work, mate. Oh, you haven't done the card segment for a while. So, classic packs will be back. So, I appreciate that.
Any spare packs at home?
I don't. No. I've got quite a few cards, but they're all open.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. All right, we'll get to a bit of an outro now. Would say that was really fun. I should say you had a bit of a work lunch on today. I think you've held up pretty well. So, shout out to yourself there. Well done. Pat on the back. So, look, as I mentioned at the start of the show, and I do every week, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your audio podcasts. We can be followed on socials. The main one to look out for there is on X at Throwback Hoops. We'll get some stuff. I think we forgot to get them through last week, but we'll get maybe your AJ Johnson jersey, maybe a bit of Kendric Davis for that NBL sort of flavour. We'll make sure we get those. We're probably both going to be a bit more proactive with that.
Yeah, I mean it was Thursday to Monday this episode, so we'll just do it.
Look, I've got to say this Monday afternoon, evening that we're recording now is definitely my preferred time. So I know we can't do it every week, but it just feels good because we get it out there right after the games are finished on the Sunday and before the Wednesday game starts. So. And just Patreon, anyone that wants to pledge a few dollars. Just before we finish, Woods, I did give us a little bit more homework as well. Hopefully you read down this far on the run sheet when I sent it to you. So I want you to finish off and tell our audience what you're thankful for basically this end of the year. So what are you thankful for?
My beautiful wife.
Mm-hmm.
She's everything to
right
me.
Now?
No, I don't know if she's listening.
She's watching Love Island somewhere. Yeah.
My family, my friends, yourself, my brother. Cricket and basketball, two things that I care about a lot in this world that bring me so much happiness. So yeah, I've got a lot of cricket, a lot of basketball at this time of year. So happy for those things as well. And that's it. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. So I think for myself, obviously my family, including my amazing parents who are so supportive of me and my little small family here. My lovely wife, and of course my daughter. Look, as you probably know, she's my most loved person in the world. Shout out to Emily there for everything you do for me and make me a better person with being your father, and that's a big shout out to Emily. Also thankful for all my amazing friends that support me and everything, and also a big shout out to my Hills Hornets family there. So love being a part of that family. Can't wait for 2026 to be back behind the mic of NBL 1. So all right, Woods, I enjoyed the resolutions, the thanking and everything else like that. final word for you for our final show for the year. What do you got for us?
Thanks for everything, man. Like all the support and everything that we got over the years, right? This is just another year where we've been able to do this podcast. We're thankful. It doesn't happen without all the audience and people listening in and tuning in every week. So thank you.
Yeah, well said. No, definitely agree with those statements there. So, look, as I said, we are going to take the week off next week. We'll be back the week of New Year's Eve. So maybe we might even put it out. I think New Year's Eve's on a Thursday night this year. So maybe we'll try and get the show out, a day or two before that. So we'll give you something, listen to if you're doing a drive away somewhere, or if you like our mate Pete, who we shouted out a few times now, mowing the lawn, those sort of things, going for a walk, or, going for a run along the beach or something like that. You can listen to us or watch us when you've got some more time at home. So, all right, Woods. Well, look, Merry Christmas to everyone. Thanks for everyone's support, as you mentioned before, and it's a big peace out. Happy New Year from the Throwback Hoops crew.
Happy New Year, everybody.